Hey guys, it's day 16 of the Pantry No Spend Challenge, and today I'm going to process the almonds that we grew last year. We have a Hal's Hardy almond tree that we've had for a while, and it's been producing for the past 2 or 3 years. It doesn't put off a lot of almonds yet. It's still a fairly young tree, but for the small amount that we do get, I'm going to process those out. We're going to crack them and get them ready so they can be snacked on or used in baking. These Hal's Hardy almonds are a cold climate variety. We grow them in the upper Northeast, and they do really well for us. For a small tree, it does put off quite a few almonds. But the shells, and I'm not sure if all varieties are like this, they're definitely not like the store-bought almonds. The shells are extremely hard, and a regular nutcracker will give you a hard time busting one of these open. And if you just use a hammer, the shell pieces go flying out and it makes a mess. So today I'm going to show you how I made this little tool here to help crack these almonds with a hammer and not make a mess. And then also we'll discuss different things about almonds, the varieties, and how they're related to the peach tree and reasons you shouldn't plant almond trees next to peach trees and blah, 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 blah. But we'll talk about all that. We'll get these things shelled and we'll see what we get out of this, this small bowl here. So when I came up with this tool, I know for smaller nuts like hazelnuts and things like that, you could just use a box wrench or even an open end wrench to kind of contain the nut while you smash it with a hammer, just to keep the pieces from going flying. But these almonds are way too big for the largest wrench I have. So I just wanted to make something similar, and tin cans are free. So that's what I used. If you have a large piece of pipe, you could probably just cut a section of it as long as the nut fits in there. And weld on a little handle, that would work, or just hold the pipe with your hand when you hammer. But it does the job. It didn't cost me anything. It's a quick project. I wanted to make sure the hole was big enough that I could fit even the largest almond in there, and that I could also fit the head of a small ball peen hammer in there to smash it. So I'll show you how I did it. It's easy. And there are no sharp edges when you're finished because everything's folded over. So all you need is an old tin can, a pair of pliers, sheet metal shears, or a good pair of scissors. And I'm going to use electrical tape on this one. I think I used duct tape to tape up the handle just to make it a little easier to hold on to, and that way there are no sharp edges on the part that I'm holding on to. So the first thing we're going to do is cut a straight line right down to the base. And sometimes there's a seam. I'll follow that if I can. I don't see it on this can, so I'm just going to eyeball it. And then once you get all the way to the bottom, now we're just going to cut all the way around and cut the bottom off so we end up with a flat piece of metal. I'll get that done and I'll bring you back. All right, I cut the bottom off, and if it gets all dented up like mine did, that's perfectly fine because we're going to be hammering this thing flat. Also, just be really, really careful. This is going to be sharp. I don't know if anybody saw the original Twister movie when they were cutting up the soda cans and everybody was covered in bandages and bleeding. This stuff is sharp. Wear gloves if you need to, or just be careful. Or just don't care like me. The cat Jack does a worse job on me than this tin can will. I'm covered in claw marks. Okay, I just wanted to get this fairly flat so it's workable. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is fold over the sharp edge about a third of the way. Sort of like, and I'm just gonna eyeball it, I'm not gonna measure. About 1/3. And what's kind of good about these cans is the little grooves that are on the cans. If you pick one of them grooves, it'll fold right on it, and that way you'll have a nice straight, get this bent down, you'll have a nice straight line that you can bend this on. Okay, and then once it's kind of bent over, use your pliers and crimp it all the way down. And we're going to fold it one more time after that, but that got rid of that sharp edge. And then the top still has the lip from the can. So we're going to fold this all the way over now so that the new edge you created is touching the top. So fold this in half or close. Again, I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to try to get this folded in half. Okay. And then I'm going to use the pliers again and just crimp the entire length down. Okay, and that gave us a piece of metal that's probably like an inch and a half wide. I'm just guessing. It doesn't matter really. But it's deep enough, like this one here, it's deep enough that the shell pieces aren't going to go flying everywhere because the hammer is going to fall into this and create kind of a lid to prevent the shell pieces from coming out. And that's really all we're doing, is just trying to contain those shells. So the next thing we need to do is, again, roughly find the middle of this. And if you want to use a ruler, you can. Find the middle, and we're going to fold it in half. So let me get that done. And again, this isn't going to be extremely accurate. I'm just eyeballing it. And it kinked on me over here. And if it does, just either use the pliers on it like that, or you can use the hammer and just hammer it flat. A little crooked there. Okay. All right. Now, once that's done, I'm going to clean up this edge here. I'm probably going to cut it with the shears just to get rid of any of these little sharp pieces. I'll nip the corners off so they're not sharp. This is going to be the part that we're going to hold, and we're going to open this back up so that it's this circular part here. But give me a second. I'm going to reposition things a little bit, and then I'll be right back with you. Okay, I got that block out of the way. So the next thing we're going to do is just clean up the end, like I had said. Sometimes when you fold this over, the pieces aren't going to line up exactly right. Just be careful. These little shards here are super, super sharp. Like getting a little fish hook in your hand or under your nail. That would be horrible. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is each of these little legs here, I'm going to fold right in the middle. I'm going to do one. Get one started here. Now, folding it this way is a little bit harder because you're going against those little ribs on the can. So you may have to use a pair of pliers. I do. And again, I'm not being super, super accurate. It's about at the halfway point. And then once you have one folded out like that, we want the other side to match. So in the same spot, just bend that other one out as well. Okay, so this is what we're left with. All right, and now we can open it up a little bit and just start rounding everything, taking that V in the front and start making that into a circle and curl that around until these two pieces here meet and they're straight like this. So I'm going to start working on that. I'll bring you back when I've almost got it finished, and we'll move on from there. Okay, I've got my, kind of looks like a keyhole, but when I squeeze the handles together, it gives me a fairly round opening. And like I said, it's not sharp on either edge. Your only sharp edge is this back one here. So this is where the tape comes in. So once I have it pretty close to where I want it, I mean, I can fine tune this and make it a little bit rounder if I want. But really, this is, to me, is a disposable tool. I'll use this one or this one until they're destroyed, and then I'll just throw them in the recycling with the rest of the cans where it was originally destined to be anyway. So I'm going to take a little electrical tape and right where those two handles come together, I'm going to tape them together real tight. Okay, and that'll hold this together while I finish like fine tuning this circle to make it more round. That way I can fit my almonds in there and not have to worry about, or also make sure that my hammer fits in there too. I think this is big enough that I'm not too worried about the hammer. But also this is where if I notice any sharp edges like these corners here, I can take the tin snips, round those off or snip those, or I can cover the whole thing with a piece of electrical tape just to get this taped off. But I'm going to wrap the handle with tape just to hold everything together and give me something to grip onto where I'm not going to cut myself on the edge here. And once that's done, we'll give it a shot. We'll see how it works. So we just finished our new nut cracking tool thing. Not even sure, a little corral, a nut corral. Let's give it a shot. In case you missed this from a past video, this is a knee warmer. You'd put this on the wood stove after a long, hard day of work, heat it up, put it on your knee, and it warms your knee, and it doubled as a knee anvil for cracking nuts. That's actually what this is for, is a little nut cracker. But if you don't have one of these, a block of wood, whatever, all this is doing is keeping the pieces from scattering. So I'm going to put that on my anvil here, give it a shot, and it worked perfectly. I didn't have to worry about shells flying off everywhere, and I can eat my almonds. That one was kind of bitter. So anyway, let's put this thing to use. I'm going to crack all those almonds and we'll see how many we end up with. Well, I ended up with a lot more shells than I did almonds. That's to be expected though. And hopefully every year the almond tree grows more and more almonds, and I'll get more than 2 handfuls. But I've got plenty here to make some Almond Joy candy bars or to put into some granola or maybe even just crush up and put into yogurt. There's different ways you can use almonds. But almonds are really good for you. The reason why we chose to start growing almonds as part of our orchard is they're rich in vitamin E, magnesium, phosphorus, calcium, biotin, copper, potassium. There's all sorts of really good nutrients in these. They're also a good source of protein, fiber, a healthy source of unsaturated fats. They lower bad cholesterol. They're good for blood sugar spikes. The magnesium helps with moods and for sleeping. So they're really good for you. And I've also found the squirrels aren't as active going after almonds as they are our walnuts, for instance. They're not familiar with them, and I try to make sure the squirrels don't get familiar with them. They look like peaches, but when the squirrels bite into them, thinking they're peaches, they taste horrible, and the squirrels leave. So it's a nut tree that I can grow with our squirrel population and not have to worry about it. The squirrels actually go after apples, peaches, pears. They strip our orchard of everything, but they leave my almonds alone, which is kind of a good thing. And I had mentioned something about almonds are related to peaches. And one thing, if you decide to grow almonds and you do have a peach tree, make sure they're not too close to each other. Peach trees and almond trees can cross-pollinate, and they can make your almonds taste really bitter. The cyanide that's in peach stones or peach nuts can get into your almonds and really mess up the flavor and potentially make you sick. So you don't want to grow your almond trees near your peach trees. Also, your almonds, because the meat on an almond stone looks like a little peach, they're a little bit smaller, and eventually when they rot and the nuts are getting ready, they'll split and the meat falls off the stone, and the stone is what clings to the tree branch. A lot of people have never seen the process of almonds growing. But those almonds, that meat does not taste good at all. And again, cross-pollination can mess with your peaches as well as the peaches messing with the almonds. So you could end up with two bum trees because they're growing too close to each other. So just something to be aware of if you want to grow them. Anyway, unfortunately, I don't have enough that I can stock my pantry, but it's the beginning. Like I said, we've only have even gotten almonds for the past 3 years. So hopefully in the near future, I'll be filling jars with almonds that we can put on our pantry shelves. So what do you use almonds for? Do you use it in your baking? Do you snack on them? Are you not a fan of almonds? Also, if you crack your own nuts, whether you're cracking walnuts or almonds or chestnuts or whatever you have growing in your area or that you buy, how do you crack them? Do you just use a nutcracker, the good old-fashioned nutcracker, or do you have another method? If you do, leave it down in the comment. What I'm using now, if this with a hammer, works pretty good, but I'm sure there's better ways to do it, and maybe you can fill me in and I can be a little bit more efficient busting these open, so that when I have barrels of almonds that need to be processed, I'm not sitting there swinging a ball-peen hammer all day. Anyway, let me know in the comments. Like and share the video if you like what we do here, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.